Open space, the final frontier. These are the explorations of scientists, sociologists, and AI technologists at Maynooth University. Our mission, to create autonomous drones, air traffic flight management, and seek out new solutions for our civilization. To boldly go where no drone has gone before. Experience knowledge set free at our open days, November 23rd and 24th.
Maynooth University. No bounds.
Welcome back into the Sportsmemo NFL Every Game on the Board podcast, where we're doing the back half and ending it for Thanksgiving here with our next guest, Andrew McInnis. McInnis, welcome to the podcast. How are you?
Hey, Drew. Doing pretty good here in the far east coast of Canada. So, unfortunately, it's not Turkey Day for me tomorrow, but I'll be excited to watch some football and break some of these games down. It's a good slate for sure. We'll break it down in the back half, and I can't wait. So, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to get into New England, New York Jets. But just as you say that, does anybody celebrate Thanksgiving in Canada or no?
Oh, we have Thanksgiving. It's just in October. It's just in different days. So it's just different time. And we don't get the amount of football that you guys get. So maybe a little bit of CFL action. So as for all of us and my buddies, we're mostly just looking forward to the NFL football tomorrow. That's kind of our Thanksgiving treat for American Thanksgiving anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got the Grey Cup this weekend as well. He's got to play up on sportsmemo.com. Check that out. And hitting over 70% in NFL totals this year, McInnis is. He's got to play up on the front page of sportsmemo.com in the NFL as well. And guys, remember the coupon code SHOOTOUT at checkout for half off 7-day all-access package with McInnis, with any handicapper on sportsmemo.com. It's a great way, especially for this weekend. Just you'll get the email, put in your play, bet it. And it makes it pretty easy for under $50 for 7 days of every sport that the handicapper you choose. We got 261, 262 McInnis, New England at the New York Jets. We got the Patriots laying 9.5 on the road, 46.5 the total.
Yeah, this one's pretty interesting to me, Drew, because you look at this New England team, you look at them off the loss that they took. It's kind of hard to even not back this team immediately after a loss, especially a more embarrassing one, to say the least. But I also hate backing in a really injured, banged-up team as well, like the Patriots are, of course. I got a lot of question marks in Brady, Edelman, Gronkowski, a lot of main guys, a lot of guys you like to hear around the locker room being healthy are kind of listed as questionable right now. But, I mean, if you look at this Jets team, they've been getting flat-out embarrassed. At scale, their past two games, 2 weeks ago against Miami, a 13-6 loss. I mean, I don't even want to get into how atrocious that is, how awful of a game that was. It's sad to see that they had a decent start to their season, but they have been unable to develop any kind of offense. And realistically, they've been scraping together a little bit of defense, but that's not going to keep them in it. And we saw that next week against Buffalo when they lost 41-10. So that team is flat out embarrassing. But again, you look at this New England team coming off that massive loss, a loss we don't usually see on this New England team, 34-10 against the Titans. But looking at this one, I'm going to have to take the Jets here. I think this is one of those spots here. As much as a lot of people love to back the Patriots off a loss through, for me, this number is too high. I think almost it's going to be a little bit of a letdown spot here for this Patriots team. I think they won't really kind of wake up in the morning as excited for it as they would for another game, say against the Chiefs, or the Saints, or a more exciting team like that, for example. So when the Jets play this Patriots team, I think here they're 3-7 ATS, but I think in this one, they're getting a decent amount of points, and I don't think the Patriots run the score up on them this time around. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the over in this one and the Jets on the spread.
McInnis, we got 263, 264 Seattle at Carolina, 47.5 the total, with the Panthers laying 3 at home.
Yeah, this one's pretty interesting to me here, Drew. I think this is a really, really close matchup here. I like both teams, but I think when you look at this one, you got to look at the over, and you got to look at this Seahawks team. They've impressed me, in my opinion. They've shown up for bigger games than Carolina has, and they show a lot more consistency. I mean, you look at the points they're putting up; it's really impressive. Against the Rams, being able to put up 31 points, and the Rams not the most impressive, defensive team by any means, but they're still an impressive team that kind of dominates games. And you look ahead next week. Just a 2-game scale here against Green Bay, a great performance for them, and 27-24, scraping together that divisional type win. I like this team. I like the over in this one the most, though. Total's gone over in 6 of the last 9 for the Panthers, and 4 of the last 5 meetings between these two teams. For me, it's plain and simple. This one's going to be a shootout, back and forth style game. Both these two teams have a strong run game, and both these two quarterbacks love to run the ball as well. So I think this one's kind of a triple threat matchup, and both teams are strong at all positions. So for me, it won't really be a tightly contested defensive style game. It'll be a very, very high scoring, lots of action, and both quarterbacks will go downfield. So look for the over in this one, and I got to lean Seattle as well.
McInnis, we're going to head to the 4:30 Eastern kickoffs. We got the Miami Dolphins traveling to play the Indianapolis Colts here. 51 the total, with the Colts laying pretty much 7.5, couple eights out there at home.
Drew, it's funny because in the short period of time I've been talking football with you, it's always interesting breaking down this Miami team. I know you're a Florida resident, and we talked about it several weeks ago. The great start this Miami Dolphins team had to their season. And now I'm kind of looking back on it and thinking maybe it was too good to be true. The great start was against Tennessee, the Jets, the Raiders, 3 back-to-back wins, and all of a sudden, the following week after that, they have a massive loss, 38-7 to the Patriots. Then they lose to the Bengals. This team really, in my opinion, they're going in a different direction as the Colts. I think the Colts are currently on the come up right now. They're looking confident. They're looking like they have lots of depth at the wide receiver position. That's what I like to see. I don't like to see just 1 or 2 guys finding the end zone. I like to see numerous people getting involved in the game. And to me, that matchup against the Tennessee Titans, I liked it. I mean, 38-10, you gotta like it. And against Jacksonville as well, a dominant win, dominant victory. So. I do like the Colts to absolutely smack the Fins in this one. It should be a higher scoring game as well, but the Dolphins have failed to cover in 9 of their last 10 road games, and I think that continues as well. I think it's going to clear victory here for the Colts.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins' interesting case study here. I was talking about it with Teddy Covers earlier in the week, and he has a season over-under win total ticket of 6.5. He took the over with the Dolphins, and they're sitting at 5-5 right now, and he's not confident that they'll get 2 wins down the stretch here with 6 games left to go. So that tells you a lot about what he thinks about this Dolphins team. However, looking on the upside, I guess Ryan Tannehill is upgraded to probable Sunday. I was reading the Sun Sentinel down here in South Florida, and they're reporting that he looks sharp and he will start on Sunday. So that's I guess some positives there out of the Dolphins camp. But moving down the line here, we got 267. Yeah, go ahead, McInnis.
Sorry about that. Actually, I need to correct myself here. I was looking at my notes. I had the wrong page set up here. That's why I was a little confused. But I had it written down here as the Miami Dolphins, their past couple weeks here. What I meant to say was their good start against Tennessee, like I said, and the Jets in Oakland. But last week, getting absolutely smashed by the Packers. And then 2 weeks ago, I got to get your thoughts as well on this, Drew, but that game against the Jets, 13-6, man, that's just a despicable game. It's sad to see, and based off what we saw from them, building that scoring ability and consistency to start the season, and now just putting up 13 points. I don't care if it's a win. 13 points against this Jets team, it's kind of sad in my eyes as well. And like I mentioned, I mean, a 38-10 dominant victory, like I mentioned, for the Colts team. I don't care always about points, but to see that the margin of victory as well against the Titans, it means something to me for this Colts team. So I just had a little mixed up with the notes. Just wanted to clarify that, the fact that Miami's going to get absolutely smacked by the Packers, who in my eyes are a terrible defensive team, although I'm a Packers fan, and then only put up 13 points against the Jets, that's worrisome in my eyes.
McInnis, we got 267, 268. Arizona at the LA Chargers, 44.5 the total. Looks like the Chargers laying 13 at home.
Yeah, I'm worried about Arizona. I think just like everybody else is. I think that this might be an obvious pick. I think in certain moments when you see a large spread, you can maybe consider Arizona. But right now, looking at this one, I mean, it's absolutely atrocious. This team can't gather a drive. They can't get anything together. They can't get any consistency. And it's really sad. I mean, as far as rushing the ball goes, it's awful. I mean, they barely get any yards per carry. They average 78 yards per game, or rushing yards. Meanwhile, the Chargers 123. But what stands out the most is the 276 passing yards per game, averaging 26 a game for this Chargers team. Leading up to last weekend, this Chargers team was one of the top teams in the NFL, and they're still up there in my eyes because on a week-to-week basis, they're putting up those numbers, and realistically, they don't really seem to care which team they're playing. They're giving them the work, and they're taking care of business. I mean, you look at last week, this Arizona team losing 23-21 to Oakland, and just 2 weeks ago, this Chargers team, in a dominant fashion, took care of the Raiders 20-6. So I'm not saying it's just, hey, this team beat this team by this much, this team lost this team, but I think it just shows the variance in skill between the two teams, and the Chargers are headed in a different direction. I think they'll be pissed off, what the outcome was against their matchup with the Broncos. And realistically, Drew, we've seen some big spreads with this Arizona team, but to me, we're not seeing a big enough one in this one. So whatever you want to give me, if it's going to be 12, between 12 and a half, 13, whatever you want to give me, I think I would take the Chargers here.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, so liking the Chargers, even given the 12, 13, whatever you can get it at. Bookmaker at 12, Bet Online at 13. Two other games here in that range with the New Orleans-Atlanta game, and also there was another one that was a high spread, 11. That's the Ravens laying to the Raiders. So three teams with laying doubles here in the NFL. You don't see that every week. But moving down the line, we got Pittsburgh at Denver. Looks like the Steelers laying 3 on the highway. 46.5 the total. This might be a bad spot for the Steelers here, McInnis. They got that win at the end against Jacksonville. I don't want to say lucky, but it did come down to the end there, and then now they're having to go to altitude on the road in Denver, back-to-back road games. Spot says Denver. I don't know. What do you say?
I agree with you. The spot does say Denver. To me, Drew, if it's all right with you, I'm going to just shrug off the side in this one. Just take a look at the under in this one. I think that the total has actually massively gone under, 17 of the last 22 on the road for Pittsburgh. And like you mentioned, I'm a big fan, Drew, of checking out schedules. That's why I often mention it. And just say, hey, look, Pittsburgh had a massive, massive show against Carolina, putting up 52. The following week, really close, contested game, 2016 against the Jags. And, now you head to Denver, and you got to think, what are you going to get out of this Denver team? What's Denver going to try and do to shut down this powerful team that is the Steelers? And it starts with the defense. It starts with getting stops. It starts with some 3 and outs, and I think that's what we see from this team. And, I think that football is one of the most highly talked about travel kind of sports where you got to look at those situational spots. And like you mentioned, the spot play is the Broncos here, but I'm just going to take a look at the under 47. I think it's a solid play. I'll stay away from the side. Who knows what Steelers team will show up to this game, but I think in the essence, it will be a lower scoring game.
Guys, we got the Sunday night game and the Monday night game to finish it off. And remember the coupon code SHOOTOUT at checkout at sportsmemo.com the next 7 days for half off. That's $49 every sport, whatever handicapper you choose puts out, you will get. We got Sunday night game 271-272, Green Bay at Minnesota, 47.5 the total, with the Vikings laying 3 with juice at home.
This one's just great. This one is great. It's a perfect spot here in my eyes. You look at this Minnesota team. You look at what we've gotten out of them, and I think that what we've gotten out of them in the past couple games, even, Drew, is not the team that they are. I think they're a far, far, far better football club, actually. I think that they have more weapons that can be more dangerous. We're just not seeing that, and we haven't seen the accuracy on the throws. We haven't seen, those explosive plays that we saw at the beginning of the season, and I think it's really unfortunate. And I think that this Green Bay team, like I've mentioned to people, besides 2 weeks ago, that victory over Miami where, they only allowed 12 points, they're a team that's prone to allowing lots and lots of points, and their defense is constantly worrying. It's a defense that could have a dominant first half and come out in the second half and, just absolutely get walked all over. So I mentioned, I'm 8-3 in my totals. It's kind of been my strongest spot here in the NFL, and I'm going to go over the total in this one. I think these two teams clash here in this one, and it's going to be an exciting one. I don't even think that, it's trending towards the under. I've seen at a lot of spots, but I don't think whatsoever this one should even be at 48 or 48.5, 49. I think it should be, closer to the 50 number, Drew, in my eyes. I think this one's going to be a lot higher scoring than people think. And, you got to keep in mind the guys that Minnesota has, the weapons. And, of course, the Packers. I think Rodgers is going to start taking a lot more shots. We're at that time right now. They're 4-5-1. They have underachieved more than anybody could ever imagine. They have a tough division. The Bears are looking good. I think that this is a team that has to step up. It's going to be a big game for the Packers. Of course, the Vikings, like I mentioned, They're a lot more of an explosive team than people give them credit for. People like their defense. I think they come out and have a huge performance. This one goes way over the total. This is probably one of my favorite total plays on the weekend.
All right, liking the over in Green Bay, Minnesota. Finish it off here, McGinnis. We got Tennessee at Houston, the Monday nighter, 41.5 the total. Looks like -6. The Texans laying at home.
Yeah, I'd probably lean the Texans here as far as the side, but if you're gonna want one of my plays here, it's gonna be the under. I mean, these two teams clash. They're two teams that, in my eyes, kind of bottom of the barrel. Kind of obviously a key matchup between both these two teams, but what's their skill? What are they both going to bring to the table when they're playing top tier elite teams? It's going to have to be stops. It's going to have to be that 7 that comes up strong and has a good performance. So for me, looking at this one, Tennessee averaging just 17 points a game, that's despicable in my eyes. And realistically, they haven't been able to run many plays. They're averaging just around 4.67 yards per play. It's unbearable. It's not good for the team. And I think that Houston should own this one. Total's gone under in 4 of Tennessee's last 5 on the road, and I think this is a good spot for this under. So for me, wrapping things up, I just really like the under in this one. It should be a lower scoring, not really too exciting game comparison to the way I feel about that Packers game, Drew.
All right, McGinnis, good stuff. Also, didn't tell you that thanks for that free play on the NHL one this week. What did we move to now? 4-2?
4-2, man. Gotta love it. It was a great play, and I'm hoping to keep things going next week. We talk some more hockey. Yeah,
either Monday or Tuesday. Talk a little NHL here on the Sportsmemo podcast. And guys, best of luck with your bets this holiday weekend. We'll try to be back on Friday with a college basketball podcast with Brent Crow. But if we don't see you, enjoy the weekend with friends, family. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, and best of luck with your bets.
Open space, the final frontier. These are the explorations of scientists, sociologists, and AI technologists at Maynooth University. Our mission: to create autonomous drones, air traffic flight management, and seek out new solutions for our civilization. To boldly go where no drone has gone before. Experience knowledge set free at our open days, November 23rd and 24th.
Maynooth University. No bounds.